Thank you, Jensen, for having me on the Patron Saints Straight Truth podcast today. I'm truly excited to be here. Today, I have some thought-provoking head scratchers that will blow your mind. There once was a farmer and he had a dog, and Bingo was his name. B-I-N-G-O, 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 and Bingo was his name. Oh. Now whose name was Bingo, the farmer or the dog?
Wait, what? Wait, let me think about this one. Do I get a lifeline here? Ha ha.
In the English language, the word number is abbreviated by the letters N-O, but there is no letter O in the word number. Now, explain that to me. Where does the O come from? Better yet, speaking of abbreviations, who the hell called Richard Dick for short and actually had it stick? Because I don't see how you get Dick from Richard, let alone get that nickname to stick. Nationally, back when there was no phones, no television, and no internet. To reinforce the usage of Dick for a man's proper name, and for all men named Richard who get called Dick for no good reason, actually sit there and accept, embrace it, and use it like there's nothing wrong with it. That's actually ridiculous and absurd that we have allowed this to be normalized for so long, because we all know that when you are friends with someone named Richard, you call out, "Hey, Dick," to get his attention, and then quickly chuckle under your breath to yourself because it's too easy not to. It's actually preposterous that it still continues during the woke era because it's offensive and unnecessary. It will be the equivalent of us using a woman's name that has no relation to a derogatory word and attaching it to it as an abbreviated nickname for short. For example, it would be like taking any random names like Joy, Whoopi, or Sunny and tying the name bitch to those names. These examples have no correlation to the shortened abbreviated name, just like Dick has nothing to do with Richard. But then again, that's democracy for you. Now, think about this one. What language do deaf people hear their inner voice in if they have never heard the sounds of a spoken dialect before? How can their inner voice know how to talk to them in a language that they have never heard before? How about this? Why is it that when you sound out the letter W, it starts with a D and not a W or W sound? When I was in California, I met this smart, clever fellow named Jensen from Huntington Beach who was just absolutely cursed with good looks and charm. And he was telling me a story about how his eldest son grew up having severe lethal food allergies to eggs, but had zero allergies to chicken. Forgive me if my thought process is wrong here, being from Canada and all, but doesn't a chicken lay eggs? And once the eggs hatch at birth, don't they turn into chickens? So how the fuck do you explain that one? They're the same thing. The Cambridge Dictionary defines multiplication as adding a number to itself a specific number of times. So 1 times 1 equals 1 is wrong by definition, because 1 added to itself 1 time equals 2. And that's doing the calculation verbatim by the definition, so there is no misinterpretation. Second, Cambridge defines the word multiply as to increase in value. So 1 times 1 equals 1 is wrong because it fails to meet the criteria of multiply, since it does not increase in value. But on the other hand, 1 times 1 equals 2 is correct because it increases in value. So some Greek dumbass miscalculated the first equation of mathematics in 300 BC by writing with his finger in the fucking dirt. And all of the hardcore mathematicians and scientists argue their ass off that the calculations are correct. Well, I just showed you that the calculations were wrong by the actual definitions twice, and 1 times 1 equals 2 was correct in both calculations. So how is that incorrect? If the numbers don't lie, like the saying goes, then traditional math is wrong. Now all of the whiners are going to bring up the 1 foot squared bullshit argument and argue that it's equals to 1 foot of space. But the fucking knuckleheads always seem to forget that mathematics is an abstract language, trying to develop something from the two-dimensional world on paper, like using the 1 foot by 1 foot tile, for example, to build a house. So in their old and outdated formulas, they are calculating the area of the 1 foot tile only. But if you were to take that tile and lay it on the ground in the three-dimensional world, you would see that the 1 foot squared tile actually needs a perimeter of 4 feet in order for it to fit, because 1 foot squared is actually 4 sides of 1 foot each, making that 4 feet squared, not 1 foot. Because 1 foot squared would be 4 sides of 3 inches on each side equals to 1 foot. If everything else in the world needs to be updated as the world changes around us, why is math exempt? We live in a 3-dimensional world, and the math we are using is wrong, outdated, and tailored for the 2-dimensional world. So we just need to bite the bullet and fix it now, since we already have 2. I have to rewrite history, because everything that we've been taught is wrong. The timeline of mankind is wrong, where we came from, and religion is wrong, and the moon landing was faked, and NASA needs to come clean about the Challenger astronauts still being alive and not exploding on live television like we were led to believe. Let's hold here for a second so we can put up the demonstration video of how they use the escape hatch while I'm talking, so you can visually see what I'm talking about, as well as the city council meeting where they show the evidence of them living today as college professors. Because what we all saw explode on live television was an empty shuttle, because they all slid down an escape hatch that dropped them down 200 feet beneath the rocket boosters into a 6-inch concrete and steel chamber that shields them from the rocket blast at takeoff. The government didn't account for the invention of the internet and thought we were all so dumb that we would never figure it out. And they were so arrogant that they didn't even bother to put them into witness protection and give them millions to stay hidden. Instead, they let them become Ivy League professors with the same name, same birth date, and same face, and have them pretend that they are not them. Let me tell you, it's statistically impossible to have a doppelganger of all the same exact identities. So they just need to come clean about that. Hope you all enjoy food for thought exercises, and don't forget to check out Jensen's new AI-generated podcast, the Patron Saints Straight Truth podcast, this season, because it will be very enlightening, educational, interesting, and fun for everyone. I'm JORDAiN P-Diddleson, and I'm out.